Hey everybody, we're having a quick look today at the Schwarz Shiraz 2014. Jason Schwarz has been making wines the same way for a while now. His whole emphasis is on the artisanal approach. I know people sometimes get a little tired of hearing about artisanal, but seriously, this is one of the guys that sort of beats to his own rhythm, takes care of each and every vine, and makes it in that old school way that Barossa really started becoming famous for right in the beginning. What makes his operation quite unique is just how many sub-regions within Barossa that he actually draws from. This one in particular, for this particular vintage, is 13 different sub-regions from Barossa, and that's not easy to do. I would say that generally speaking, the interpretation of his Shiraz is more Rhone-esque than a New World approach. In other words, he's looking for structure and spice construct as well as good ripe fruit. So it's definitely a more balanced kind of old world influenced or old world echoing approach to making wine. So first look at the glass. It has a certain brown component to it, which is quite unusual, but I guess we are 5 years down the track. That may or may not be attributed to age, don't know yet. I like the darkness of the color. The legs are indicating a moderate alcohol, and I see at the back of the bottle it's 14.2%. So it's all kind of where it needs to be. So let's have a look. I'm just interested in that, in the color. It's quite interesting on the nose because you're getting dried as well as fresh fruit nuances. Very much the dark end of the spectrum on the phenolics. The spice influence is quite gentle. And there's a kind of promise about it, of a sort of thick, viscous kind of... I'm kind of excited about how this texture is going to be, because I think it might be quite interesting. Bearing in mind that we're talking here about it. It's a $30 Australian wine. Slightly more expensive in Singapore. I think it was, when it was retailing, it was around about $50 a bottle. Really present, very much in the middle of your palate. It's round and full. The tannins are actually quite integrated and subtle. There's nothing standing out of place. And it was quite interesting that nuance of the fresh and the dried fruit plays through on the palate as well in a really interesting way. It is a weighty wine. It certainly sits on your mid-palate. If I was being completely anal, maybe a fraction shorter than it would be to be a stupendous wine. But again, we're in the moderate bracket in terms of price point here. 94 points from Halliday, I think, when it first came out. Yeah, certainly worth the mid-30s price bracket that we got it at the moment. So, cheers.